Right, let's start. My name is Anna Markovska. I am based at Anglia Ruskin University, School of Humanities and Social Sciences. And today I will be hosting this event, this meeting. I must say a couple of words to begin with. Anglia Ruskin University has established links with at least two universities in Kharkiv, in Ukraine. One is Rodion National University, and another one is the University of Kharkiv University of Internal Affairs. And we have representatives of this university with us today. This event, I'm really grateful to Sam Landrigan and colleagues in PIER who helped us to make this event public, and huge thank you to all of you for joining us today. Before I hand over to Aleksey, just the way how we envisage this event will take place. This is our experiment. We don't know if in conversation and this format will work, so we'll see. Hopefully it will work. But we haven't tried this yet. So Aleksey will start in a minute with a short presentation about the university and about the work that university did before the war and after the war. And if you could all please keep your microphones on mute. If you want to ask a question, if you have questions already to our guests, please put them in the chat, or later on you could just raise a hand and ask a question live. Also, we understand that we are at the mercy of good internet connection, and we are live with our guests who are in Ukraine. So for safety of our participants, if the line drops or if our Ukrainian guests will need to leave the meeting, we will understand that what has to happen should happen. The safety is our priority. So yes, let's start. And we'll start with Dr. Aleksey Serdyuk, who will introduce himself and say a few words about the work. Aleksey, over to you.
Hello, my name is Aleksey Serdyuk. I'm head of research lab of psychological support of police from Kharkiv National University of Internal Affairs. We also have the two police officers from the Kharkiv Region Police Headquarters, Rodion, Kalinin and Oleksandr Denisov. They will speak later. They chief inspectors of regional police headquarters. What happened in Kharkiv? As you see, at the February 24th of February, Russia started the military aggression against Ukraine, and Kharkiv is town at the eastern part of Ukraine. So from the first day of this war, we under the bomb attacks, under artillery attacks, under rocket attacks. You see here at the up of this red part of the map, where the Russian troopers inside Ukraine. So Kharkiv placed on the eastern part, and 40% of Kharkiv region, Kharkiv Oblast, captured by Russians. And our town under attack since today. So every day we hear the explosions, and we don't know when it will be stopped. So in Kharkiv, my university placed in Kharkiv. This is police university. Police cadets learn in this university. This university also was attacked by Russian troopers. Some buildings destroyed, as you see on the pictures. Some classes destroyed, not all, but some buildings destroyed. But what about regional police headquarters? This building destroyed completely. Office of Kharkiv Police, central main office of Kharkiv Police, was completely destroyed. Now all police officer moves to the other places and work on the other places. Probably they say about conditions of their work later. What done by Kharkiv National University of Internal Affairs? We investigate problems of Kharkiv citizens with the aim of targeting police measures in our region. Also, this research we start before the revolution in 2013, and every year we asking of Kharkiv citizens and citizens of Kharkiv region what the problems most vulnerable, what offenses you see in the area where you live, collect answers, then building the tree of problems and report to the practical divisions what problems most vulnerable in specific geographical areas. This is a web-based survey several years, but we're starting with face-to-face interviews. We collecting more than 10, 11, 12,000 of responses, so we can build distribution, geographical distribution for all parts of our city and our region, and see what the problems most important, most vulnerable in these specific geographical areas. So what we get before war, we collect our answers immediately before the war in the February, and the war stopped our data collection. Each year we see the picture with 4 main problems when we asking what offenses citizens of Kharkiv see in the area where they live or heard about this. On the first place and second place is alcohol distribution and consumption and drug distribution and consumption. On the third place is public order violation, and the fourth place is property crimes. When we asking the open-ended questions, this is closet-ended questions. They, as you see on the picture, we propose several options of response. When we ask in open-ended questions, please describe in a few words what the most important problems in the area where you live. We get on the first place answers about drug distribution and consumption. On the second place about alcohol distribution. On the third place about property crimes. And in fourth place, public order violations. So you see these 4 specific type of crimes each year are most common, most vulnerable, and this is what citizens expect from police to combat this specific type of crimes. This is pre-war picture. So we built a cloud of words. We built tree of problems, so as presented on this slide. What happened after the war beginning? According to police reports, every day, first what I want to say, that every day police received about 1,200, more than 1,200 emergency messages, calls to the 911 phone number. And in the total, since the beginning of the war, more than 200 persons detained. Among them, 3/4, 155 persons by property crimes. So we see that most common type of offenses during the wartime is the property crimes. 27 persons detained by murder, 8 persons by serious bodily injury. So violent crimes and property crimes most common during the war. And in these 200 persons offenses, we see that 12 is Russian militaries, 2 collaborators from the civil persons residents of Kharkiv region, and 2 persons from sabotage group members. So this is what changed. So we see that this structure of problem, structure of crime changed. We see these changes in the registration, in statistics, and until this day, we didn't see a whole picture what happened on all country, because prosecutors' office stopped distributing this information on all country. This is a war. We must understand not all statistics open, but we see on this short picture, regional picture, big changes. Thank you. This is what I want to say. This is my short presentation. And now we can ask the questions and ask the police officers who perform their duties immediately what they see on the ground in their practical work.
Aleksey, thank you. May we ask Rodion, do you want to come forward and do you want to comment on the picture of what you see from the 24th of February? And if you can introduce yourself.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So as Aleksey told us, yes, from the beginning of Russian war in Kharkov, from the very first day, I'm here at work. Previously, I worked in the main department of national police in Kharkiv region, but as it was told, the building of the department was completely destroyed. Luckily, before this happened, we could evacuate all our documentation, all equipment, so now we can work or distantly, or as me, I work is in one of district departments, help here on the ground, let's say it so. My task is mostly work with checkpoints and in the field of public security. Crimes in Kharkov. Yes, the main crimes are, of course, thieves from flats, from houses, because people left their apartments in panic. They could, some of them would only get maybe money, documents, some main things, and took their cars and left Kharkov, because first several weeks the city was completely under rocket bombing, mines, and things like that. So also illegal traffic crimes, but mostly people tried to help each other. Police tried to prevent panic, to help people to find some safe places, explained what to do, explained how to get evacuation from Kharkov. Also, we help to get the humanitarian aid for people. Almost every day here in Kharkov, police officers take help people with humanitarian aid and things like that. My personal experience that I work in position of senior inspector of International Police Cooperation Unit. It's Interpol. But as I've told, now I work on other position. But first weeks we helped using international cooperation to get different help from other countries. As for police, and helped to evacuate families of our police officers. It was mostly Oleksandr's part of work, but me also helped a little bit. Now Kharkov is more or less stable. We have less bombings, but still things happen like that. That's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rodion. Aleksandr, over to you if you could introduce.
Yes, of course. Good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I want to thank the organizers of this meeting for our common work. And personally, to tell the truth, I would like to say my gratitude to Aleksey as a representative of University of Internal Affairs, because to tell you the truth, during all our service, university itself has made a great contribution to our common work, providing to us well qualified staff of former cadets and present police officers who provide their duties on the very great level in the situation of war. And of course, our two main units, like University of Internal Affairs and main police department, are also in strong cooperation, and I suppose Aleksey can confirm my words about it. And then, sure, I'd like to confirm everything what Rodion has just said, and I would like to underline the point that really Rodion and he's my close colleague. We are from the same police sub-department. We are representatives of unit of international police cooperation, and here in our unit, Rodion, first of all, is responsible for criminal block of work, and me, I'm responsible for international police cooperation, really. So I'm in charge of different humanitarian assistance these days. Before the war, I was responsible for different international agreement in the frames of which we have received supplies from different international units like Mission of European Union, OSCE, and so on, UNO organization, and so on. So with all of them, we have stayed in a close connection, and I hope our cooperation will continue in the future. And it's true, as soon as the war has started on the 24th of February, I do remember that day, or better to say that early morning, pretty well. I suppose like all the others, we woke up early in the morning from great sounds of bombing, and I want to say that all our staff has already been at work after 6 a.m. maybe, and immediately we have started to implement our duties. First of all, we were busy with evacuating of personal profiles of our associates. Then we were evacuating all the papers which were having something like secret stamps and were of great importance to different safety places. After that, no one has left its working place. We were busy with securing our premises, guarding on the checkpoints, really evacuating the weakest layers of population in Kharkiv and so on. And when the few days have passed, and unfortunately our main department has received the direct missiles attack some staff has started to provide their duties remotely, especially it concerns international cooperation. The others officers like Rodion and really many others, they moved to other police subunits to have their shifts on the checkpoints, guarding strategic places and buildings in Kharkiv region and so on. And you see, maybe on the second week of work, of after war time period, we have received the first invitation from our foreign participants with the invitation for our families, the families of Ukrainian police officers, to be evacuated abroad to different countries, to safety places, and exactly this work has been directly done through our police cooperation, international police cooperation unit. You see, this point, I can say I'm really grateful about it personally. No, it's not a secret in general, and to tell the truth, I'm even proud of it. My own family, my wife and son, has used the scheme Homes for Ukrainians in Great Britain. And now they have already received the invitations, the visas, and for already 3 weeks they are located in the territory of Great Britain, not far away from such cities as Liverpool and Manchester. Quite small and very beautiful town called Ashton in Macclesfield. If we have here the representatives of Great Britain, I suppose they understand what I'm talking about, and I do really grateful for such ability to them, and I'm glad that I can say the words of gratitude personally to them. So this is our general work up to now. I also agree with Alexey that after the work time period, we have received new types of crimes like collaboration, some other types of crimes like prowling, which is very widespread nowadays, unfortunately. But I can say for sure that Kharkiv region is Kharkiv city, first of all, let's say so, is under total control of Ukrainian law enforcement agencies. We are doing our best, and we promise to do our best in the future. So like that.
Thank you very much. Thank you to Aleksandr, Rodion, and Alexey. I suppose I have quite a lot of questions, but over to the audience. Has anyone got any questions that you would like to ask now? Please do just raise your hand or unmute your mic and ask a question. It would be good if you could also introduce yourself so we know who we are talking to. We have Christopher.
Until we wait in the question, I want to say that new type of crime that Aleksandr say was looting. So we faced with this specific type of crime, and a lot of funny pictures we see when the regular people perform the vigilantism acts against looters. So this is also completely new phenomena with which we face it from the starting of this war. So questions.
Over to questions, and I could see a hand raised. Christopher Sherwood-Smith. Hello.
Hi, my name is Chris Sherwood-Smith. I'm a former police officer, now working on police training with ARU. I was involved in some UN missions in the past, and it's very interesting hearing you talk about how you appear to have maintained the rule of law, which is often something which is lost very quickly in wartime. Is there any reason why you think you've been successful with that you've managed to maintain this this law enforcement control?
Who should answer?
Alexander, do you want to start?
No, you see, to tell the truth, you are right, and me the same, that we do really able to keep our city, first of all. Unfortunately, not the whole region. I'm talking about Kharkiv region right now yet, but the city has been under total control from the very beginning, and I can tell you the reason. You see, officially, the full invasion has started, as all of us know, on the 24th of February this year. But in reality, you see, this invasion has started 8 years ago. So we have had 8 years time period to be, no, I won't be afraid of such a point, more than qualified in such cases, and even more thanks to our management, thanks to our Kyiv management, international international assistants who always work with us. By the way, I can say great gratitude to the head of European Union advisory mission, as they are in more than close contact with us all these 8 years. So to go together with all of them, we have been having regular trainings in the territory of Kharkiv region, in the territory of our city, and in general, to say that we have been appeared to be completely surprised and disfocused together with disoriented on the 24th of February. No, it's nonsense. So we have been ready for it. And unfortunately, you see, since 2014, we have understood that sooner or later it would happen. So finally, here it is, you see. So something like that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do you have anything to add, Aleksey, Rodion, about the readiness and Rodion?
Yes, as Aleksandr told, this whole situation, unstable situation in Kharkov, Lugansk region, Donetsk region, began much earlier. 8 years ago, I also took part I worked in criminal police at that time, and exactly in the unit that combated such things as it was the idea. We have now this so-called Lugansk and Donetsk People Republic. Also, it was the situation, the same situation in 2013 and 14 with the Kharkov People Republic. Some people wanted to have here this stable situation, to invite here Russian troops, and there were huge meetings in the main city square to protect Kharkov from this invasion. There were fights between people who supported Russian, all these illegal acts, and of course there were a huge amount of people who saved our region. Of course, it was police, it was security service at that time, and we protected, we stopped this situation in that period, and after this we had 8 years to prepare for all things that actually happened now in February 2022.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Rodion. We have one hand raised. Is it Owen Peterson? Right. Over
yes,
to you.
hello. Yes, hello. My name is Uwe Peterson. I don't know if it says here, but I work for the European Union Advisory Mission in Ukraine, also, as you mentioned before. And I am based in Kharkiv, the Kharkov field office. Unfortunately, now I am in Sweden working because we were forced to go home before the war started, but we continue our work, of course. And I could also say that I am in Sweden, and if some of you have relatives or family in Sweden, I'm always happy to help if there's some questions and so on, of course. And thank you for your information. It's really informative and interesting. I had a small question just now when the situation is a little bit calmer in Kharkiv, as I understand. Have you had time to start to think about and help individual police officers? I think about post-traumatic stress syndromes, and because I know that you have been going through a lot of bad things that other people do not see in their lifetime if you live in another country, and it can affect the individual police officers for a long time if they don't get proper psychological help, for example. Is that something you have started to think about now when it's become a little bit calmer?
Good question. Aleksey, do you want to comment on the psychological?
I can as a psychologist, I completely agree. The PTSD is one of the most vulnerable problems in the times of war and after the war. But as my colleagues say, we have a lot of time to prepare for it, firstly. Secondly, we adopt international experience. A lot of advisors work in Ukraine. And we we understand that that this will be the problem. We understand, but in my opinion, we understand but not ready, because psychological service inside our Ukrainian police was dramatically reduced during all this time, all post-Soviet times, year to year. The number of psychologists, social and psychological support departments in the practical division and in scientific in universities was decreasing number of this. And we see it on the statistics in the suicide number, growth of suicide, any type of connected disorders. We understand it. We expect it, but now we deal with other kind of problems. So, and second part of my answer, this is 2 months, so we now expect the immediately reaction on stress, but not all of these persons, this disease developed in PTSD, because it's chronic disease, chronic problem. So now it's immediately reaction. It's other type. What we see in general picture, people people are mobilized. They huge we see the huge mobilization of Ukrainian people, and in Ukrainian police also, in special services. This was unexpected. We preparing for this, but we not expect such kind of mobilization of Ukrainian society in around this this combating. So we didn't expect it. Russia also didn't expect this kind of combating this mobilization. So this is one of the reasons unsuccessful starting of this war campaign for Russia and success for Ukrainians. So this unexpected factor, I think it will be one of the most protective against chronic stage of PTSD. So now we under the shock reaction, then this mobilization will be protective factor against this chronic disease. Thank you.
Thank you, Aleksey. I could see a hand in the audience, but I could also see a few questions in the chat. And if I may ask, there are a few questions in the chat. One from Wolverhampton University, Dr. John McDaniel, who says that you are such heroes, and a few inquiries. First question, what were staffing levels like? Did many officers leave to fight? So maybe first question about the staffing level, the numbers of police officers, if you may comment on this. And the second question is, how do you support victims of crime, specifically maybe property crime or more serious crimes, when you're maybe unable to carry out investigations? And there's also a third question that I'll ask later on, right? So first of all, it's about the number of police officers and what were the staffing level before the war and after the war, and then the support of the victims of crime, if you're able to support victims of crime. Who would like to comment?
Okay, I start, and then guys add something for this. The staff of police did not change it during this war. We lost single cases, single persons. We lost when the war started. Some of police officers leave the service. Probably they're afraid, but this is the single cases. I must say, this is the single cases. First weeks was our system was disorganized because not all departments was prepared. We expect, but we not all department has the plans, special emergency plans or something like this. It depends on personal reaction of head of special particular office. We see the different pictures, but almost all police officers return to places where they perform their duties. Even in Kharkiv, where the police, this is a unique town where a police station was completely distracted, completely bombed. Police officers distributed among small police stations and continue performing their duties. So only single cases when police leave the service. Of course, these cases take place, but this is single. What second question?
I see, Aleksey, can I just stop you for a second? Rodion, did you have to add something about this point of the stuff?
Yes, I want to prove Aleksey's words. As a practical officer, I work in police from 2011. All people, all my colleagues I know, I personally know, none of them left Kharkov. None of them left Kharkov or these cities that are not occupied by Russia now. We had in one period of time when here it was a very bad situation, let's say it so, completely bombing, some even fights in the streets. We had opportunity, let's say it so, to change the districts from Kharkov and live somewhere other places. None of my friends did this. So all of them stayed in Kharkov, all of them continued to perform their duties, maybe not their state duties, let's say, like my duty is international cooperation. I stopped doing this for since the war began, almost stopped, let's say it so. 90% of my work is now connected with the public safety, with working checkpoints and things like that. But police stayed in Kharkov and continue to perform.
Thank you.
Sorry. Am I correct? As I understand, the question was about how many police officers go to the front line, take the Kalashnikov and war against the Russians. No, because police, we under the sworn, we must perform the orders. So this is our job. We already have the weapon. We get our service weapon on the first day, and with this weapon we perform our duties. Partly this is connected with war. With militaries, we stay on the block post checkpoints, but police officers perform other type of duties. We can change our place of service only by order. So this is not voluntary process. So second part of answer, a lot of volunteers go to the front line. So this is no need to take police officers and send them on the hot point. A lot of volunteers, civil volunteers who has experience, war experience, go to as a volunteers. So police do police job. Militaries do the military job.
Thank you. The second question was about support to victims of crime. What support to victims of crime is available at the moment, I suppose, is the question. Are you able to provide support? How do you support victims of crimes?
During this is regular procedure. All police stations has a psychologist. All police officers trained according to international programs. But as I say previously, we faced with dramatically decreasing of the staff, psychological staff in police stations, in the practical divisions. So we know how to do this. We train cadets in our university how to do this according to all international standards. We implement all training programs according to international requirements, experience. We have huge, cool legislation in Ukraine, all kind of laws, procedures well developed, but reduction of staff, psychological staff who must do this, provide this support. This is a problem for our country.
Thank you. Oleksandr?
Yeah, sure. One more point, which I just want to add, observing the daily routine of our police service these days. I can add that community police officers are deeply involved into daily assistance to the weakest layers of Kharkiv and Kharkiv region population, like delivering them different packages of humanitarian aid, assisting in evacuating first of all the weakest layers, by whom we understand women, children, the people of old age, to safety places where strong missiles attacks are taking place, and so on. So first of all, such duties nowadays are put onto community police officers.
Thank you. And the last question of the three is that if you were to provide new trainings to police officers, what would be your lessons following this invasion? What would you do differently now? What the key lessons would you share if you are to think about, I don't know, new trainings for police officers in light of your experience now?
No, it's a quite provocative question, of course, right? To tell the truth, first of all, I would advise, to tell the truth, to do the same. So, and exactly, you see, it would be better to provide the right of lecturers to those who are involved in this public service these days. So to former officers, to future officers, to current cadets, because you see the experience which all of us receive daily these days, it's impossible to get it from any textbooks, movies, documentaries, and so on. It's just that you see unreal experience which is possible to get only on the battlefield, I would say so. So I would advise to give the right to lecture to those police officers who are in charge these days.
Thank you. Aleksey, there is one question in the chat that relates to the statistics that you show in the beginning, and somebody is asking, they're interested in the 27 murders that you mentioned. Are they connected to war?
Actually, I don't know. This is just numbers. This is detained persons. So numbers, what I say, every day, Kharkiv police region receive more than 1,000 calls, messages about suspected criminal cases. Among them, part of them, special groups reacting, go to the place, see and document these cases, and then start investigations. And during the investigation, they detain special persons. So this is a number of detained persons. This is
this was Aleksey. Sorry to interrupt you. I think this was the question about the 27. I understand that 27 people were killed, right, in Kharkiv region. Is it
yes.
right? So, and the question was it connected? But I understand that it may not be possible to answer this question. Is it right?
I'm answering this question. This is detained person. So this guilty person. This is suspected person.
Okay.
So this is not connected with war, as I understand, because police catch these criminals, and they suspected in murder cases. So this is not Russians.
Okay.
Yes, I just want to confirm Aleksey's words, and as I know, war crimes done by Russia, they are recorded separately. Also by police investigators, by military prosecutors, officers, and all of them are going to be the part of the base for the Hague judgment process, which I hope we shall have as soon as possible against Russian government and its representatives. Yes.
Thank you. Another question in the chat is from Suzanne, who is a police trainer with the ERU and ex-police officer herself. Question is, how do you reconcile the personal emotional stress with dealing with looters who are trying to survive themselves? That's an interesting question. So how do you reconcile personal emotional stress with dealing with looters who are trying to survive themselves? Yeah. Anyone?
Who will be first?
No, you see, I just want to underline, and first of all, I want to say that here I can provide my own, maybe somewhere expressional emotion about the looters, because if to face the looters which we are talking about, they do not look like those who want to survive. No, to tell you the truth, really, you see, in my experience, these are guys 20-35 years old in the middle, who look pretty wealthy and healthy, and they are just busy with these stupid actions because they, I don't know, they just want to have some more fun or some immediate profit and so on. So that's why, it's really so. Don't sure that it's the thing when they are busy with it because of some sorrow, something like this, you see.
Yeah, they're not ashamed to be ashamed, something like this. I want to add a few words. When we see pictures of these persons who punished looters, first what we see, this is looks like alcohol addicted person. So this is true because a lot of cases of looting place it in the small selling points which sell alcohol and cigarettes, or gas stations, and they grab alcohol firstly. So what we see. I think it's very connected with consumption of alcohol consumption or in majority of cases alcohol consumption take place. So this is huge factor, provocating factor of criminal behavior in peaceful times. In war times, influence of this factor growing. Yes, I understand.
Thank you. Rodion, did you have?
Yes, I join Aleksey's words because mostly these people, they don't have any, let's say, harm for public security in home. This is just small thieves. They steal alcohol from shops that are destroyed, from bombings. It's usually 99%. It's just alcohol, cigarettes, maybe some small sneakers, things like that. They for whole public security in the city, and of course it's a small percent. I want to say we started first our conversation with the crimes that happened in Kharkov, but I said that there are numerous crimes, thieves from flats and apartments, things like that. But I want to stress on situation that yes, it's a lot number of crimes, but for the situation in whole in this city, I can say that our people, they started to be more polite to each other. They try to help each other. I live in a block of flats. I live now with my relatives, so they feel more stable, more comfortable, let's say, when the police officers work with them. And now I see that people became much more tolerant to each other. They try to help each other. When we have now all elevators off in Kharkov, it's a security measure. So people who are elderly and if they bring some food in bags, me or people my age always help them to go upstairs. So in home, the situation in the city is positive, let's say it like this. And these looters, these thieves, it's only a very small percent of people. Other are good and positive people.
Thank you.
I want to add. So sorry, I interrupt. I want to add. Just one. This is like lower grade of this type of crimes. So in the first day of war, we see the organized groups who wear it like territorial defense and perform robbery. Yeah. So this is just basics, where the most lowest class of people go and looting. Then, by criminal motivation, they conduct more serious crimes. So.
Thank you. And I suppose we have time maybe for one, maybe two questions. We are running out of time very quickly. There is a question regarding policing the city under the stress of war. How did arming and mobilizing the civilians affect the police officers' approach to crime? So we know from the media that a lot of civilians were armed, were given weapons. How did it change your interaction with them? If it did. And did you come across any situation? Yeah.
How it's changed your interaction because you on the front line?
Because I suppose because you have to deal now with many civilians who can carry weapons, right? And who are armed. And have you come across situations where it created, I suppose?
No, you see, I want to add only one point. As I know, the situation in Kharkiv with this issue has not been so widespread as in Kiev region, for example. Because really Kiev was going to be badly attacked, and there were such cases when military lorries were delivered to some exact place. The civilian had to have only his ID, showing it, and because of it he was handed some machine gun or some rifle or anything like that. As I know, you see, maybe Rodion will correct me, as I know, nothing like that has happened in Kharkiv, because from the very beginning, the number of regular military forces together of those who entered so-called territorial defense unit, it was times increased than those who were really needed. So you see, there was no smash in the territory of Kharkiv region, like somebody received the machine gun and was implementing some wrong actions with it. If such deals happened, they were so minor that we have not received any full-scale information about it daily, for example. But maybe Rodion has something to add about it.
Yes, you are absolutely right. In Kharkov, only if we talk about if we talk about civilians, only territorial defense got the weapons, but now they are. It was only officially. It was only done documentally, and this territorial defense is now it's part of military. So no civilians got a weapon in Kharkov. Of course, there are some facts that some illegally brought weapons from places where active war is, but the weapons were not given to civilians in Kharkov. No.
Thank you. Thank
in
you.
terms of, and I add, because question was in terms of behavior and interaction. So in these terms, behavior in interaction, they make more easily perform our duties, because on the whole territory of Ukraine, a lot of people in territorial defense perform regular police functions. So they stop, look on ID, and this make our work more easy. So they take this function probably in terms of interaction between criminal person who want to do the crime. So we protect. This was protective factor, and number of such persons decreasing. So only highly motivated criminals perform their crimes. So for those people who do it under influence of alcohol or accidentally motivation, this was protective factor, and now we face the only motivated criminals or drunk idiots. Sorry for this.
Okay. Thank you. Right. I think there might be one last question, but we are running out of time. And there is a question about from anonymous guest. There is a question about police infrastructure and how was it held up, radio communication system? How did you manage to put it all together, given that, and I'm adding my question here, perhaps, given that the police headquarters was destroyed, how quickly and easily were you able to restore communication, radio communication? Have you experienced any significant problems with this?
It is clear why the representative is anonymous with such questions.
Yes, I don't know if you want to discuss it or not, but we are clear that at the moment radio and communication system works well, right?
Yes, true, because you see, no, it's not a governmental secret that you see all this communication has lots of backups. And if the main one is out of order, immediately the recontrolling is moved to, as I have said, other backups, and which are doubling each other and so on. And of course, it was one of the main points which has been taken into consideration far away before the war. Because, no, of course, communication is always the best. So that's why it has been taken into our mind the very before.
Mm. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we've arrived to 11 o'clock now, and I'd like to thank you thank you to our Ukrainian colleagues, Aleksey, Rodion, and Oleksandr. Huge thank you for finding
Thank you very
time.
much.
For finding time to join us, and we hope that we might organize something similar in the near future.
I offer to do it on regular basis.
On regular basis. We haven't even
support this. If it will be interesting for Anna, if it will be interesting for our colleagues from Great Britain or other countries, we also want to ask the questions. So now we're answering questions.
Yes,
we also
of course.
want to ask the questions, because this is first time experience for us. We're preparing for this, but we face it with this first time. We also interested to hear, did someone has similar experience, or want to say us about special techniques, how to do in these circumstances, what changed it. I see the question in the chat about cyber disruption. So
yes,
don't
we can continue, I suppose, isn't it? We can continue. Yeah. We haven't even touched the point. How do you police the city where the traffic lights are turned off, right? And it's a separate subject for the next, for the other meeting. Right. Thank you all very, very much. We hope that we will be able to organize a very similar event. We'll see how and what thematically what it would be. But thank you all for joining us today, and special thank you to Aleksey, Rodion, and Oleksandr. Thank you. And Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава.
Героям слава.
Glory to heroes. Yes.
Slava Ukraini.
Bye.